is being circulated. I would note that we do have a quorum. So that would take
Recording
us
in progress.
Howdy. The meeting of BENLIC Board of Directors Thursday, October 16th, 2025 at 2:30. I would note that we have a quorum present. Sign-in sheet is being circulated. So moving on to item number 2, approval of July, September 18th, and September 29th minutes. Do we need to break them out, do you think, or just have them all as one motion to approve? I leave it to the discretion of the board.
It could be all as one. The July minutes are just because we didn't have a physical copy on the table. So we just decided to table them at the last meeting. And then 18 and 29, we had the special meeting with related to Norfolk Avenue. So it was just a very brief meeting to change that disposition. It seems they can all be done at once.
There a pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve all three.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Dan. Thank you, Dan. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report, September 2025.
That's page 13 in your package, treasurer's report, and then page 15. Those expenditures are the same expenditures from page 13, but they are divided by grant and program. So we do have several different BENLIC accounts at this point. They are listed at the bottom of page 13, separate accounts for our city and county ARP initiatives, separate accounts for BENLIC utilities, a separate BENLIC M&T Bank CD account, and a BENLIC US Treasury bill. So in total, the balance as of September 2025 is $16,196,759.33. You can see general activities on the credit and debit side for September. In addition, we have our large ARP project for which approximately $1 million a month is being spent on that GMP. So our quarterly reporting was due yesterday, October 15th. So if anybody has an interest, we do send these packages to our county team, our City of Buffalo team, Raymore. So every receipt and expenditure for ARP is detailed in the report. So if you would like us to send you an electronic copy or take a physical copy, you are welcome. But we should have all of our financials up to date.
One question, Jocelyn. Has BENLIC received the full commitment from both the county and the city?
Yes.
Okay.
So all the money is in the accounts and then kind of
It's just been spending down.
Correct.
Right. So the money that's shown is what's left. On page 13, we can see the 2 Buffalo accounts and the 2 Erie County accounts. That's the money remaining left.
That would be money, right, in between the two, right, between ARPA and Treasury bills, because there's a bunch of laddered bills,
Okay.
correct. Yep, so we've received all the money from the City of Buffalo, thank you. As of just a few weeks ago, we got the 2026 money, so we have it all.
Good.
Any other questions, or is there a pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Nadine.
I'll second.
Dan, motion made and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to resolution 2025-7, approval of the 2026 BENLIC budget.
If anybody needs a large, there's a large copy of the budget for, easier reading. If anybody would like that. This is a typical authorities budget office process. And I thought what I would do is just explain the process for the board, which beginning around every August, we begin to work with our accountant at Lumsden and McCormick, and they help BENLIC to lay out the required 5-year budget. So we typically meet with Lumsden a few times. And then when we feel ready, which we felt ready on October 9th of 2025, we met with our Audit and Finance Committee. So the Audit and Finance Committee is chaired by Jeremy Tove. Also includes Adam McNeil and Ray Noseworthy. So Jeremy and Ray were available along with Seth. All of this budget information was presented at the time to the Audit and Finance Committee so they could get an opportunity to understand in general, the lay of the land with regard to our 5-year budget. If you take a look at it on the left-hand column is 2025. That was the budget that was approved last year. The column 2026 in red is the proposed budget. So if you compare those two things, there are really just very, very minor. The first columns on the left, revenue columns 2000 through 2026-01. Those represent our the grant monies that we've been receiving and the property sales that we've been able to recognize. So right now, in column 2000, you can see we have several different land bank grants. We also have an Adams Street, another HCR Adams Street grant, and then we have the large amounts of funding that's working its way through for the ARPA grants. With regard to the Land Bank Initiative grants, we tend to have been receiving approximately $2 million a year, or $2 million over an 18-month period. So that's approximately divided, by those 3 different Land Bank Initiative phases. We typically have been looking forward, and we feel consistently that we can look forward to that $2 million over an 18-month period that we've been recognizing. In terms of property sales, you can see we tried as hard as we could to predict in 2025 what those sales would be. But again, the timelines get staggered a little bit in terms of actually recognizing those sales. So again, in 2026, we're making some predictions. If you look all the way over to the right, you can see the 2025 actuals. So really, we've come pretty close to what we anticipated and what we actually recognize in 2025. Further down, looking down the left-hand side, you can see these are all just the typical expenses of our organization. The only expense of surprise or an increase this year was really item number 6900, which is almost all the way down near the bottom, insurance. I'm sure everybody is dealing with increased insurance costs in every aspect. So we are anticipating another large increase next year, approximately 190,000 from 120. And we were taken a bit by surprise this year with the actual and insurance. Everything else seems like very, very standard. And just to make a couple of points from the actual Audit and Finance Committee meetings, this 5-year budget does not anticipate what we'll be doing with the recycled art money. So once we start once we can get through this process of actually how are we going to sell these homes, we can start thinking now about what we're going to do about coming up with an agreement for how the recycled money will be spent. So again, that money is not contemplated. So what you see moving through here is the grant, and then we'll be working, for next year on how we actually are going to put that recycled art money to use. Similarly, I think I made all the points that were just the main points from that meeting. Jeremy, if there's anything that you wanted to comment on with regard to the meeting, Alexis was also present at the meeting, so just wanted to make sure you seem to feel comfortable with the presentation by Seth.
Yeah, I mean, I asked a bunch of questions like I normally do. Some of that I didn't understand. Ray understood the answers, so that was helpful for me. And the main thing we discussed, if I recall correctly, was this, the property sale timing, when we actually start seeing money. And obviously, as of now, we haven't sold anything on Adams or any of the ARPA. But as I recall, the discussion was, what if, does it really matter if it happens in December or January? I think the answer was no, for purposes of the budget. And then discussion about when does it actually get booked. I think that was a little, I don't know why I'm chairing this committee.
So the two accountants are not the chair.
That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, in the end, the discussion was coming on Am I missing anything?
So hopefully you'd be. willing
Yeah, I
to
can
make
make
a recommendation
motion.
that we would upload that to the authorities.
So I just don't, I know the personnel committee normally does the salary adjustments in like January, February for 2026.
Correct.
Not yet, Matt, you haven't provided the personnel committee with the recommendations for salary adjustments, but we're including what percentage, couple percent for the salaries increases. So you're adding in the increase in salary, but we haven't gotten your recommendations on how to, what the salary should be, so.
Correct, I think, but it's usually just an estimate every
Okay.
year, and it's usually the same every year, and then the board has the latitude to do whatever they want.
Okay.
So that's something that Seth actually just guides us with, so we're just kind of using his best practices. We didn't come up with that.
Okay. So that could be revisited and adjusted.
Exactly, yeah.
I think, and you were saying that percentage was.
If you look at most of the lines that are below the gross profit line, so right where that cost of resales is, most of them are just a pure 5% bump. If you look through the Excel spreadsheet, that I was right.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's basically 5% across the board. Out of it, like she noted, the two insurance line.
And if any line, this is the maximum, right? If a line comes in under, it's fine.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah,
yes.
perfect.
Mhm.
Could I, I'm sorry, how many employees are there?
Right now, we have 5, we're all here, we have 5 full-time employees.
And then the insurance, not the health insurance, but the insurance towards the bottom, 690. What is that for? And
The biggest part of the insurance expense is the labor law, the scaffolding law, or general liability insurance. And because we have so many, at this point, so many homes under construction, it's a very expensive policy to carry.
so this policy is a policy protecting BENLIC proper or?
It's actually more for the properties we own.
Okay.
We have a combination of 2 insurance policies, an InsureMark, which insures the properties when we get them for what they are worth at that point, which is usually dilapidated. Then we have a builder's risk, which covers the properties during remodeling, new construction, everything like that. Then once it finishes and we get a certificate of compliance or completion, we move back to the InsureMark, which again, they're like your basic homeowner's insurance. Covers for the cost of replacing the home if we have a catastrophic event before we get rid of it. We have to keep those policies in place until we actually dispose of the property out of our inventory.
Again, these are rudimentary questions. Who does the work and are they required to get their own insurance that would protect BENLIC and anyone else?
Yes. Builder's risk essentially is a blanket policy. Materials and such as that, when they're installed, they become our responsibility. Before they're installed, they're covered under the builder's risk that the contractors and such have. So we have kind of a double coverage there. It just depends on where it is, which is one of the reasons we visit our sites constantly to see what is and isn't installed so that we don't get hit with something that wasn't installed and it's on the builder.
What are the insurance requirements for the builder?
The builders, we just had a new one, I believe it's,
Is it 1 in 3 or is it?
no, it's higher than that, I believe.
Each builder selected their project,
Oh,
and those will come to, so they don't have, you don't have a set build, we don't have a set builder, as proposals come in, they're selected. Much.
Yes,
They
they're
have
required to have certain
city.
limits, and I believe it's 5 million under their liability. And they have to have the builder's risk plus the general liability for their vehicles and so forth like that. I do believe it's 5 million, though it's the general liability, which is the most important one to us.
And I don't know if this is a public question, but are the city and the other, like, other municipalities additional insured under those policies?
Yeah.
The city and the county are additional, yeah.
And if I may, was it 2 years ago we went back and took a look at our policies taken a look at to make sure that we did have directors and officers, anti-harassment, things of that nature that were added to it.
You requested that, and we added a cyber policy. We already have directors and officers. I think for sure last year we reviewed with Wally whether they thought we had enough.
So we have in the past been rather vigorously taking a look at it.
Understood. And the last question, what is the why is the actual so much more than the budgeted? Was
The
it-
insurance?
Yeah,
I think it was just unexpected how much the rates have
it was
gone
not
up.
like in relation to a particular claim that
Nope.
caused the insurance to spike or anything like that, it was just the nature.
Insurance is escalating across all construction projects and property ownership to it. It's a difficult degree.
But related to that, do we have any outstanding claim?
The only one that we filed that one claim for the material on 590. I don't think we did.
Property damage?
Yes,
No, we didn't. We
Oh.
didn't have sufficient evidence at that time. Yeah.
basically, we only had one major problem, which was on 590 at Adams Street. That one, we had several break-ins at the beginning of the project, lost several doors, some equipment and so forth like that. But the cost, some of it was borne by the contractor because it hadn't been installed. Some of it had to be borne by us because it was installed, such as windows. It wasn't so much theft as it was vandalism. And at that point, it was more, the cost was at a point to where do we file a claim with our deductible and take a chance on our insurance going up? Or do we just basically swallow it, which at that point, the level was, we paid for it out of our funds.
What are the deductibles on each policy
It's not exceed 10,000.
5,000.
for both the building risk and the GL?
No, for the damage.
Yeah.
And that-
Which is basically builder's risk.
Here's what we require, from contractors, 333.
That's right.
Is there an excess anywhere?
It can be covered under general liability, excess liability, or just, generally, those are the two places. It's either covered under general liability or excess liability, or an umbrella policy.
What's the umbrella?
Sometimes, some of them have a difficult time getting the general liability up that high at a reasonable cost. So in some cases, they'll get to the 2 million, then they'll have another million on top of that as an umbrella policy.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Is there anything else by way of presentation? Yeah. Go ahead.
Did we open like a new bank account or something that we're starting to budget for bank charges? I know it's a small dollar relative. We had historically budgeted for it. 1,500 spent actually, and now we're starting to budget for it.
Interesting. Did that come up once?
It didn't come up in conversation, and I'm trying to think what would have been itemized.
We did not open anything new, and typically M&T Bank would fund
Yeah.
all of our bank charges. You're right. So that's, wow.
Long story short.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm sorry, that went right over my head.
And then the only other question I have, and it's related to ARPA construction and just making sure that the city and the county both, their money is protected. We have 10.4 million budgeted in 27 for ARPA construction. Is that acceptable to the ARPA standards of that? Because BENLIC now has the money is considered spent by the end of 26?
Yeah.
Or did somebody look into that?
Yeah.
That's something I'm not just
The
particularly
second and the
familiar
third
with.
figure
I just
out,
wanted to make sure
I
that
believe it's because we transferred it, we've obligated, committed the funds.
Yeah,
we hope.
We
We expended though, I guess.
Yes.
I know.
it's considered expended because
Okay.
the
We have-
there'd be
we
an
have spent the
was
money.
spent.
We've delegated it on. We
We
hope.
Yeah, when I saw that number in 27, that raises some concern, just with what I know about the ARPA side. I haven't looked into this specifically, so I just wanted to make sure. it's brought up.
Yeah, well, both of the contributions that was looked at had to make sure that those monies would be considered expended.
Yeah.
By the two,
But
you know.
like everything with this administration, it's uncharted waters. You don't know what they're actually gonna do.
Especially with this funding though, it's been our charge since there.
Just saying. Anything else? Is there a motion was it by Jeremy?
Jeremy?
So Jeremy made the motion. Was there a second? Second by Adam. Thank you both. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 5, resolution 2025-8, disposition of ARPA infill initiative properties by lottery process, pages 21 through 27.
Okay, this is an important resolution. We got a lot of help from our council. John Sid to help us craft this resolution. And essentially what we'd like to present here is a resolution that would approve disposing of all 52 our properties. So our typical practice since 2014 has been to come to the board with each individual property sale. Those are competitive property sales. And, you know, for issues of transparency and possibly even requirement, land bank requirements to bring each individual sale to the board. We're proposing here that in order to expedite the sale of all 52 homes, that we may be able to do so through this resolution. So what you have in front of you, there are 5 bullet points. First of all, as I mentioned, we can dispose of them all by a one. Second of all, I mentioned we would be deviating from our typical disposition policy in place of using a lottery system, which is also contained as extra material in this resolution, and we can discuss that. We will also be using an affordable methodology to set prices, and it's stated such in the resolution, what that methodology is. So again, it's non-competitive. There will be a set sales price for a 3-bedroom, a set sales price for a 2-bedroom, and a floor of a 15% floor that would enable us to potentially reduce the level of that max property sale. It also designates that the executive director can sign the contracts and the length of the resolution. So those are the points that the resolution covers in front of you. So page 21 is the resolution. Page 23 is the actual lottery guidelines that we have distributed these guidelines. I believe they went out about a week ago to the whole entire ARP committee, city and county. So just essentially rules for the process. And you can see also on page 27, also included with the resolution, are a list of all of the addresses. So we have the addresses, the SBLs, the sales price, and the sales price floor for each of these property sales. So I assume people may have questions or comments about this potential resolution. Or not.
I have one particular question. Looking through the entire supporting materials, in particular for application materials, it asks for either completion of a homebuyer education or proof of registration for a homebuyer education. And I'm just curious as to what is proof of registration for a homebuyer education course. I haven't, as someone who took one, I don't know, it just paid and started it. Like, I'm just wondering, how do you verify someone has signed up for an online class they may have not?
We do it all online, so there is a record.
What if it's not through?
If it's not through us, we would have to verify it through the other agency. If they said, yeah.
I think and I've said this before, my concern is that we not preclude people from applying when it really is quite easy to take a homebuyer education class. And so I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to force people to use Belmont's service and have to pay a specific fee to you when, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So the online buyer education is free through Belmont?
Our online course, but if they wanted something immediately and go through eHome, and that's what like Urban League uses, they can go through eHome and take a self-paced one, but because that's not owned by us, they would have to pay for that. But if they take our online course, they don't have to.
And yours is just offered on
so-
goals,
yeah.
but is it a specific date?
Yes, so we have 2 rounds of classes a month, one in person and one online.
So I guess and it's just a really clarifying question is, show the applicants who may or may not be trying to use that, what it would require, how they could meet the,
Yes,
like,
we could.
show us a proof of credit card payment to I'm sorry.
Yes, what we
eHome.
could do as part of the application is even list the agencies who provide a HUD certified housing counseling course
Mhm.
and their contact information, just to be, fair, and then just say supply,
Proof of payment
Yeah.
for the course or something like that,
Mhm.
because if that way again, just trying to make sure they're not precluded.
Yeah.
You know, you're offering a free course, which is great, but in case it's, I found out about this yesterday and the deadline's tomorrow, your course is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe it's proof of registration for your course or something. I just want to make sure we're leaving flexibility
Sure.
and not
Absolutely.
foreclosing them the opportunity to submit an application.
We did, we have the lottery process outlined here, but we did want to just kind of walk you through, just so the board feels comfortable, just the overview of the lottery process. The lottery will be conducted online. We have a third-party random draw service. Applicants will submit their application through Belmont's online portal. They will then subsequently receive a unique number. So there will be anonymity, right? Once they get their application, and they are going to be number 37, not a person, you know, to ensure that there's anonymity. Belmont will then live stream and record every drawing, a ranking of all applicants shown. Records will be internally maintained for auditing, and the lottery will then assign all applicants a ranking, first, second, third. Next, Matt.
Yep.
Post lottery drawing, starting with the first ranked applicant, Belmont will contact selected applicants, present them with a list of homes. For example, the first ranked will receive the first choice, the second ranked, second, third, etc. As we proceed down the ranked list, homes that are chosen will be removed from the list of homes available for purchase. Belmont will proceed through the list of ranked applicants until all homes have been chosen. After an applicant chooses their home, they will proceed to the first steps of the closing process. The applicant will have 7 business days to complete the following reviews. And then if the selected applicant does not complete the process, the next ranked applicant is contacted and the procedure is repeated. I also just want the board to understand, we didn't just make this all up in the last couple of weeks. There have been numerous meetings with Belmont as well, to make sure that they are on board, they understand the process, meetings with our lottery group. So again, we really didn't just pump that out there. We've really been trying to study best practices, to try to do this. It's very rare to find single family home lottery sales. I mean, rental, it happens, and we were able to kind of find all those best practices, even those in Buffalo that use a lottery, but this has been the result of a lot more work and meetings, just to make you feel all comfortable. Matt, the next slide. Sorry, that's it. That's it.
So I missed this, but how many lotteries will you do? We're gonna do more. Do we do them every month, or do we do them every time we have a certain number of homes?
Right, by neighborhood, right? So.
By neighborhood.
By neighborhood, by delivery.
And
by
because
delivery group.
for example, like Black Rock Riverside, we are gonna have 8 stick builds, but we don't have any modulars yet for
Right,
Black Rock. So we're gonna do the lottery for the stick builds. Once we come up with the manufacturers in Black Rock,
Right.
we'll do another one,
Okay,
right? Because that,
so they'll be done by neighborhood, by our measure of buildings at a certain time.
correct.
So if someone gets rank number 1, there's 8 homes available, and if they, I don't like those, I'll take them out. Do they wait for the next ones and they're still number 1?
No.
Or do they enter it again?
This was a big point of discussion with the Belmont staff, and I believe that we concurred that the best way to run it would be a separate lottery, because there's going to be a large lapse where some people might not still be eligible. Their incomes could have changed, their pre-approvals could have changed. So just to keep it realistic for Belmont's, ability for their staff to do it. Yeah, we'd have to run another one, but to communicate this with all the applicants, just so they know, this is our expected completion date for the next homes. If you're still interested in this neighborhood, we'll keep you informed so you can apply for the next one.
Can I ask just a timing question on the, when the lottery is drawn? Are you only gonna reach out to number 1 first, then wait 3 days and talk to the second one, and then wait 3 days? Like, do you reach out to everyone who's there's 8 homes? Do you reach out to all of the top 8 winners at once and let them know you're in line? Think about the house you want.
Start getting
ready.
your ducks in a row,
So you don't do one, like, wait for the first guy to respond before you talk to the second guy, before you talk to the third guy.
We would let them all know that they're in the first positions to get a home, but then we would let them know they have to wait. Okay, which one do you want? okay, you want, you know, there is gonna be some lag time just because they're gonna want to see the house again and you maybe make a decision, you know, there'll be some lag time just to, as people are trying to decide, but for the most part,
But-
yeah, well,
There'll be 8
yeah.
publisher clearinghouse winners.
Hopefully, yeah, like teed up, basically, yeah, so we can kind of go through it as quickly as possible. No, I did, you know, and I didn't notice this yesterday, I apologize, but, and I should have asked. The earnest money deposit, is there a reason that it's, 4 and 5,000, or why you came up with that? Okay. Okay,
And we just called some realtors
Mhm.
just to understand best practices and what was typical for an earnest deposit.
mhm. I mean, the only, some mortgages would allow them to just have 1% of the money of their own money in the transaction, the rest could be covered by grants and gifts. I just was curious if, you know, a lot of times they ask for that deposit, realtors do, because they're trying to cover their commission and don't have to bill for it. So that's why they usually ask for something more sizable. But if that's what you want to feel comfortable with too, I mean, just that people have more of their money in the,
Well, and that is something I
Yeah.
think we did spend a lot of time
Mhm.
talking about, is we want to make sure that these deals don't fall through.
Yeah.
I mean, we want, if you're ranked number one and you want to be on this, you know, we figured that it should be an amount of money that means something, that you're gonna get to the closing line, but we're certainly open to comments.
What I think that they should have some skin in the game. I guess one question I had is, say you do the ranking, the lottery for the first 8, here's the 8. How long do they have to select the house before they're booted out and go to number?
There's 3 days.
3 days.
3 days is what we're saying.
Yeah, if they're not responsive, you would then move them. And then 7 days to do the first step, though, to do.
Yeah, that's not that, but that's what I was.
Yeah,
and again,
that's why I was asking about the 3 day thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if you waited for the first guy to pick before you told them
No.
to.
No, okay.
Yeah, we tried again to find best practices in real estate for how long people typically get to schedule an inspection. How long do they typically get for an attorney review? And then we tried to combine it to the longest, you know, kind of time possible, but 7 business days should be sufficient for someone to, you know, to get those things done. And if they can't, for example, like, oh, if the inspection might be on the 8th business day, I think we can have some latitude, you know, to approve that.
Can I have the question of an applicant comes in without a realtor in particular? And they say, what attorney do I use? How do you answer that question?
I usually say, check with families and friends who have purchased a house and get a reference. We try not to like provide them, you know, we don't want to steer anybody to particular real estate agents. But then we would just recommend make sure that this person is not Uncle Jim, who's an attorney for union, this has to be somebody with a real estate background.
The same on inspections.
Yeah, and they could also use the bank attorney as well if they wanted to.
Those are issues that are covered in the
Because
training you
education.
do, the online
Yeah,
training.
yeah,
and
exactly.
lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. I
I know.
I know a bunch of lawyers, that doesn't mean I
Yeah.
want anything to do my.
Exactly.
And that's probably one of the better ways to provide that information too is traditionally has also been just give them the bar association's phone number. The bar association can provide a list of attorneys that they know, whether it's through lawyer referral or itself that handle real property.
That's a best practice, that's great.
Mhm.
I think that would be a good way to.
Put it in the slide.
Any more questions or comments about the resolution itself, the lottery process? Because again, we're looking for then the board to approve a resolution that would enable us to expedite the sales of these non-competitive price properties.
Yeah, so we got a hypothetical, if, let's say applicant 1 didn't complete this 7 step, or the process in the 7 days, you know, it gets to the 8th day, they don't have it done. Is that house then offered to applicant number 2, who has already started the process, or does it go to number 9? because we've already filled the first.
Yeah, we thought of that, Matt, we got.
Yeah, again, another point of a lot of discussion with us and, between Benlic and Belmont, we believe that it should go to the next ranked one who hasn't been offered choice. So in that example, go down to applicant 9. And that would be, for a variety of reasons. One, be just to keep it moving, keep it streamlined and, keep it kind of simple and easy to follow, and also to extend the opportunity to somebody who hasn't had an opportunity. So applicant 2, maybe they didn't get their first choice, but they still will have a choice out of multiple homes to choose a home. Whereas applicant 9 hasn't had a choice yet. So we believe the fairest method would be to extend that applicant 9.
I mean, I can agree on the timeliness side of that, but applicant 9 would get to that house whether 2 chose it, you know what I mean? They would ultimately get that choice at the end, they would get the last choice, you know what I mean? So, but I agree on the timeliness point that, you know, keep our end moving, that's a good process.
And once they're in contract, they're they're on contract in a specific. Yeah, so to start moving
Start over, yeah.
contracts, yeah, that seems tough. But if it's in that 3 days before any contracts are signed.
I mean, and obviously if they have an inspection delay because the person they hired, we're not gonna, you know, as long as there's communication and the attorney was out of town that Friday and they said they're gonna review it on Monday, or, you know, we're not gonna be like, we're going to the next person. It's, you know, as long as there's some, you know.
Did you get reasonableness, not language in the guidelines then, if you're gonna have some ability to extend a deadline based on circumstances?
I don't know if we need it, because we have a lot of rules and regulations in government that we wanna scare them to comply, but I feel like this is a guideline of what we are putting out there and what we expect, but it's not like they're not signing this contract with that language, you know? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's
I don't know.
what we felt
I don't
as
know.
well. Again, just like with the earnest deposit, you want to make sure that they have skin in the game. We don't want to make it too easy for them to just say, oh, well, you know, I can't do this until next week, so can you just wait? You know, we want to make sure that they know, and then maybe on a case by case basis, if they seem very sincere or there's some problem, we would have the latitude to extend it.
For someone that loses out, are they totally barred from buying any other home if they lose out because they don't meet deadlines?
No, they could still enter another lottery. They'll be disqualified from that lottery phase for, you know, those homes that were offered at that time in that neighborhood. But if say that lottery was the BlackRock stick built and they want to place a bid on the modular homes on the west side, they could still enter that lottery. Just, you know, just try to extend the opportunity in case something does fall through.
Yeah, there's a lot of due diligence and effort to go through the process, and I don't perceive many bad actors who are gonna purposely delay.
Yeah, it's been my concern is the bad actors.
And my concern right now has to do with the scheduling of the inspection. I know we say schedule as opposed to actually conduct the inspection. But have we had an issue with getting inspections done in a timely manner? Or has anybody been hearing word of mouth about there's not enough inspectors out there? I know that was an issue a few years ago, and I didn't know if we still have something similar going on.
Like it just, my son's buying a house, he closes next week and they got an inspection in 2 days.
Okay.
If we haven't had any issues with timeliness of buyers, inspectors, we think it's properties. I did want to say regarding the flexibility language on the deadlines, maybe a question for John Sid. John, would we need to include any specific language to, you know, specify that if buyers are making good faith efforts, you know, we're can extend those deadlines, or
You have some discretion to.
I was listening to that conversation, and I think I agreed with the Belmont representatives that I don't know that you need to put that out there or make it part of your policy. I think, and I'm not sure this is necessarily legal advice, but I like the idea of firm deadlines and then, you know, the use of discretion when appropriate, I guess, you know, but I don't think you want to advertise that people can you know, that the deadlines don't necessarily mean anything. I gotta be very careful about that.
And if we're giving anybody deadlines or terminating them for non-compliance, all of that correspondence will be written correspondence, so we have backup if anybody ever.
Yeah.
Does it. Just to, that there's a paper trail.
Yeah, that absolutely. And likewise, the burden is on you, Belmont, to treat people fairly and, equally, right? If you are if someone's exercising discretion for one person and not for another without an objective reason or documentation, that could be a problem. So it is incumbent on everybody to treat everyone fairly and equally. Right? If someone's a perpetual problem, document their perpetual problem, right? If they need 5 more minutes to run to the bank or another 24 hours for funds to clear, maybe that's okay.
Any other questions or anything else? Is there a motion by the board? Or
I just want to make sure the board is comfortable with of authorizing the executive director to reduce the amount of the house up to 15% without coming back to the board. It's like $5,000. I don't have a specific concern or a specific number. I would think, 10 or 15%, it's a significant amount of money when you start adding up 40 that to, put it on you to not come back to the board, and all of a sudden we find out, oh, we've done it for 25 homes. That's 25 grand each, we're out, and that's a lot of money.
And when putting the resolution together, that was certainly a consideration. There is a reporting requirement, that the executive director would have to, as part of the executive director's report, give a written explanation and justification for any price decrease. So certainly, can be changed, but that's as it is now.
Ben, if I may, this would be post contract, so this would be the appraisal didn't come in as when are the times that it's likely to see a decrease in sale price? It's not the offer didn't work out, right? This would be, or they couldn't, if one applicant can't get financing for a certain amount.
Right, if the appraisal came in low, or likely if, the market's change in a way that's unexpected and offers that, kind of bulk at prices. These aren't, they are spread across the city, so, it's kind of.
They can't go because they don't have enough to put down as a down payment. And all of a sudden we lower the price because they don't have enough. I don't know if that would make a difference or not.
So I think the question you're saying is if it's an individual problem or a neighborhood /
Yes.
situational problem, and would you make a price adjustment based on an individual's problem versus a neighborhood
Yeah,
kind of systemic problem?
I find it hard to believe there's any of these brand new homes aren't going to appraise for $200,000. I don't see that happening.
About everything. Actually, like, what was like 250?
No, it was, the reduction was contemplated at the last meeting between the ARPA working group. In a way to just allow for any unforeseen, incidents to just allow sales to continue to be effectuated.
John, for the the program the Syracuse Land Bank has with home headquarters, do they allow the executive director to accept a lower amount in conditions like this?
But I don't think it's a home headquarters program, though. I think, in other words, the land bank doesn't sell home headquarters homes. But to answer your question, no. I mean, when our land bank approves a sale, it's for a price.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I just want to make sure the board's comfortable with the number, because we don't question it later on and realize that we've left a lot of money on the table.
would it be more appropriate that the executive director inform the board by email in advance of making that exception? And that way, if there's a strong objection raised from any one or many partners, that there could be a pause, and that way you're not making the decision.
You could even do it through a real estate committee, maybe?
Well, I'm just thinking an email to.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's contemporaneous.
I just don't want to put involved, I mean, that could add up to a lot of money at the end of the day.
You're not left alone making that decision. It's the board was aware, and if anyone wants to raise an objection, hold it for board, send it to real estate committee, any of those things, we're able to voice that concern at that time and have that conversation, which will not be breaking public meetings law, because we'll do it.
Well, they, like they're
Had my-
saying, they
were
raised the
reading-
objection, and then we know it has to be, we're gonna have to have a meeting.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but the video is frozen on me, but I can hear, and someone read my mind. I was getting concerned about that.
I
Yeah.
talked myself through it. I got there.
Okay,
But if it's just an informational item to the board and we're not doing business, just asking to be brought as business.
So I guess we would have to amend this resolution to include the requirement that the executive director is authorized to reduce sale price for any home by amount not to exceed 15%.
It's on the next page is the communication piece, so I think that's where you want that number.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, okay, oh, it is there. I'm sorry.
Well, that,
Instead of as the regular update, which
Prior-
is post.
Right. Just earlier.
you want it to say advanced written note justification, advance notice by
Yeah,
written?
yeah, that works. That works.
Notice is given to the board.
Okay, good.
so that any price shall be accompanied by written justification and reported by advance notice to the board.
Well, because then the be it resolved for the
Yeah.
previous, she's,
Right.
sorry, she has permission to make that adjustment.
What was the language again? Yeah.
I think we're just adding, at the first bullet at the top of page 22, aren't we just adding in accompanied by advance written justification?
Right. So what, in my view, that you sort of have your cake and eat it too. You're asking for advance notification from Jocelyn. You've already granted her the authority though, but with the advance notice, if you come screaming for a special meeting or something, you could stop it, I guess is how I'm thinking of it.
Okay,
Yes.
yep,
And
That makes
then
sense.
after the word board, strike as part of the executive director's regular updates. Does that sound fair?
I'll make that motion with issue as noted.
Thank you. Dan, is there a second?
I'll second. Well, let go ahead. Okay.
Thank you. Motion made by Dan, seconded by Mike for the revised resolution. Is there anything else on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. So we're starting to run tight on time, but we have the discussion items. First off, the MLS access under the ARPA home ownership initiative.
This is, last month, the board authorized BENLIC to work toward signing an agreement with Belmont to work on selling these homes for us. We believe that we can have that agreement potentially signed by end of business tomorrow, correct, Ben?
Yep.
That's great. We've been having regular meetings with Sandy and Karen to get together. One thing that we said that we would come back to the board with to address some of the concerns was how can BENLIC and Belmont access the multiple listing service? So we did explore 3 different options, and those options are more detailed on page 29 of your package, and then very briefly described up here. So we did look at 3 things. Number 1, we put out, we called all the brokers who submitted the original RFP and ask them for some costs to help us to access that MLS. Number 2, we explored using our land bank ability to use the New York State multiple listing service. And then 3rd, we explored a little bit with using the city of Buffalo to use the multiple listing. So if you can see on page 29, the results of basically our investigation. So option A, we did get 3 responses back from, one from the Scott Realty Group, one from MNB, and one for Red Door. So their costs, to do these 52 houses in total and access the listing, are as shown, 136,000, 236,000, and 175,000. Option B, our ability to directly access the New York State multiple listing service. Our costs would essentially be for BENLIC about $1,000 a year to actually activate our membership and using 3 user accounts. We would then need to add a little bit, and Sandy, if you want to expand if necessary, but we've been going back and forth and figured that Belmont will need to spend about an hour per listing, right, with photographs and populating, things like that. So there'd be some extra costs of about $8,200. Does that sound about right?
Just 3,000 on top of the, what did I get, 38? 32, okay. So I was just figuring 52 at an hour piece. I'm not trying to certainly gouge, just cover the staff time. So to do each one, because the MLS doesn't allow us to, if we just did Zillow, we could do one for each neighborhood. And that's what I was initially proposing, but if we do MLS, we have to do one for each and every house. We can't just lump them together. So just that staff time of creating those listings.
But at least there's the comfort of knowing we'll have all 52 properties individually, and then New York State MLS automatically populates all of the Zillow, Julia websites. So, we tried to do a whole comparison of New York State MLS and the local, and it seems that the New York State should work just fine, and it makes it pretty transparent and available.
Transparency and
Yeah.
I think that that's sense.
And a better.
What is our purchasing policy of? What's the dollar amount in our purchasing policy of, Julie? For the executive director to authorize a purchase without going to the board?
What is it, 10,000?
Is it 10 or is it?
Professional service. Yeah,
And
yeah.
is what, that was one of my discussion points was that, it's something that as the executive director, get the subscription. Regardless for the New York State MLS. One thing that we have had come back to us, just given and based on the tenor of the discussion with the expenditure of ARPA monies, the auditing requirements, it would be best if BENLIC did the New York State subscription out of regular operating monies and not out of the ARPA monies.
Sure, and we've used it in the past. We usually use it to sell vacant lots and things like that. So yeah, we could, but.
And that's what I was gonna say, because it could be used beyond the ARPA properties as well, just to make it as safe as we can with any audit of the ARPA monies being spent. It's better to have that on site.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? So it's $1,000 for MLS and the rest is a change to the Belmont contract for this 8,200? Or 2,000 for MLS, 1,000 each year, and then 6,200 for Belmont. So does there need to be an amendment to Belmont's contract for this?
Right, yeah, it's an additional $6,200 additional cost for staff.
Or 3,000 additional costs to them, so 113.
Because we approved up to a certain amount already to get this started, so at the, so this would be 110, so this would take the total post contract to 113. But at the last meeting, we approved X dollars to get it started, right?
Or was that the extra money you were saying to put aside to pay for the realtor referrals fees? Isn't that what I do?
No, it was specific to marketing. Efforts, materials.
Oh, that was marketing materials, like additional.
Things.
Got it. So do we have to, well, we don't need to bring back,
Matt's gonna bring it up. I don't think we need to amend the other resolution.
Yeah.
No, well, the contract.
I'm sorry, go ahead, the contract.
Because what the traditional budget is 9,000 for optional, what's the rest?
Okay, 10,000 for optional services.
Management of the New York State MLS is not in Belmont's core scope of services that they submitted as part of the 110,000 application. So it would be a minor,
But it's sort of replacing some of the Zillow work or in addition to the Zillow work, so. I'm not trying to bring back a contract and delay this at all. I really am not. I don't
Yeah,
want
look,
you to not have approval.
yeah, and execution and the intent really is that the core scope of services, the home buying services, everything else, that 110,000 is separate to the New York State nonetheless, it's administrative.
Got it. So the optional add-ons were $10,000, so this could be within the optional add-on. So then there's still, you have coverage for it, so at some point, then you go.
One of the options is a lot of concepts, so.
All right, just want to make sure you got money to do what you want to do.
So that's, there's nothing to vote on, just, I guess we just wanted to make sure the board has comfort then with New York State MLS. As listed, everybody's okay?
Yeah.
Great,
So option B is what they're telling us, yeah.
option B. Option B, and then, I guess just a couple pictures to end the meeting. So here's our first Cheektowaga house finished. So this is 195 North Crest in Cheektowaga. Totally complete. We received the certificate of occupancy today. So 195 North Crest would be the location for the ribbon cutting. I know we are open to whatever dates the county is interested in. I mean, we'll make ourselves available, but the house is ready. So I guess we can let you come back to us with when you want to do the ribbon cutting. And when the county executive is available. Yeah,
And problem know that.
great.
And your side too.
In state as well.
Wonderful. I mean, yeah, it's just, we would love to rely more on obviously the county, the city to run these press conferences. Just, we don't really have the capacity to take charge of that. But we've got the house ready and the location and we'll make ourselves ready.
That's the question. No stairs that's graded up to the porch?
No, they're not stairs, that's the actual sidewalk.
Yeah, it's graded up to the porch. There's no front stairs.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to do accessibility. I'm a zero entrance kind of gal.
Keep in mind, these are not ADA houses, but
They're visitable.
They're visitable.
Yeah.
No, we haven't seen that. Yeah, great.
Okay, so that's Cheektowaga, and then moving on, Matt, thank you. This is our first, our city house that will officially be finished and complete, so we're ready for a press conference for the city. 18 Calumet Place is the house, so that was taken September 12th. At this point, all the grass and seating is in. There's grass. Yeah, it's all good. So that's the house, that house meeting and city board members, that's ready. So if you have dates or let us know, or we can respond to when you're ready to do any kind of a press conference. Yep.
Yep.
So that's your address. And do I have one more picture? Just an update on all 12 of our phase 1 properties are in their final stages. So all the exteriors are complete. Several interiors substantial, and all 11 phase 2, which is First Ward and West Side, are all underway, and we're right on schedule with our in the city. So that's great. So we're and then John, any quick words? Substantially complete all in Cheektowaga as well.
Cheektowaga, we have basically 10 of the homes are framed up.
No, Cheektowaga.
Cheektowaga. Basically one's 100%, the rest of them are at about 80 to 90%.
Okay.
So I do still anticipate them being done by the end of the month or within a week or so of that deadline.
Next, Matt, brief Adams Street update. And John is here also to kind of walk us through Adams Street. So remember, we have 12 homes on Adams, and the first 2 should be ready
by the end of the month. We're basically looking to have at least the interiors finished. Basically, the frame of the house, the siding, the interior is completely finished for the realtors to do walkthroughs and start the lottery for the Adams Street. We actually have 10 of the houses built. I believe 9 of them are sided. 2 of them are foundations, which we will have framed within the next 2 weeks. At that point, we'll have all 12 houses up and built, and it's just a matter of finishing them and getting them done.
But once these first 2 are complete, the realtors will stage them. And then there'll be, Alexis, tell me if I'm wrong, a 60 to 90-day application process, correct? So we won't be probably starting a lottery for Adams Street until January, okay? And for consistency, which is great, now that the board has approved the lottery process will be exactly the same for Adams Street and for the ARPA homes.
Think the lottery would open for, City Duaga.
I'd say if we have press conference the last week, and let's say then I'd like to be able to do a big open house event where we have all our staff manning the houses, as long as they're safe, to enter. They don't have to have the certificate of occupancy if we just want to show it. So if we have like that at the first weekend in November, and then I could see us having, applications due, say, the second week, and then maybe right before, is it a good timeline right before Thanksgiving to have the letter? Do you think?
I thought we had 45 days for applications to come in.
Oh, we are gonna do.
Wasn't there a time frame in
Okay.
that for the applications to be submitted?
Yep.
I think it's 45
Oh,
days.
it is.
Am I,
Okay.
I could be.
Yeah, Adams is longer. Adams is a longer application because that's a requirement by HDR.
Wow.
ARPA is shorter, and I just can't remember how long.
I thought it was 45 days, that may be.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, we're gonna.
so
So
if we start in December, it's a Christmas present if you're getting a new house.
Yeah.
No, I just wanna, that'd be great, if we could start then. So I'll ask the question I've asked. During winter, BENLIC will be clearing snow from the city homes, so you'll have a contractor out there.
Yeah.
See how he works.
Yeah, we typically are going, and generally we'll be getting pricing for snow certainty. Any snow needs we have throughout the winter. But, thankfully, these don't have drivers, so it should be quick and easy for her. Okay, thanks.
And I think that's it.
I would just reiterate that there was a strong push to make sure that the press conference and ribbon cutting happens before the end of the
You come to tell us.
It's
we're
really
responding
ready
to you. Yeah.
We could do it tomorrow. What
Yeah,
say, for
we're
example?
ready. Yeah, I mean, but in terms of, just give us the dates. Then we'll accommodate.
See Kelly, we go out there tomorrow, so not tomorrow.
All right. Anything else? Anything else by the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
So, okay, let's get out of here.